We begin with those latest airstrikes targeting Houthis in Yemen. The U.S. and the U.K. have struck 36 targets in an effort to end Houthi attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. Paul Eaton is a retired Major General with the U.S. Army. He served as the command of operations to train Iraqi forces in 2003 and 2004, and I spoke to him just this morning about these strikes. Major General Paul Eaton, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Rosemary, thank you very much for having me.
I'm going to start with the latest, obviously. So we're now on a third day where the U.S. has targeted Iranian-backed militias hitting an anti-ship cruise missile belonging to the Houthis. Yesterday, the U.K. did join the U.S. with some of the hitting some targets in Yemen. Obviously, this is in retaliation for the killing of 3 U.S. service members in Jordan and also what's happening in the Red Sea. So let me just get your perspective, your what you make of this overall response.
Rosemary, most countries deal with the term national interests, vital national interests, conditional interests. When you start tampering with the sea lines of communication, particularly for when many countries are involved, now you're involved with a vital national interest of the United States and many other countries. So when the Houthis began causing Lloyd's of London to take pause on insuring vessels in the area and rerouting traffic at great expense, that triggered a gut response on many people.
Do you think that the killing of those 3 U.S. service members, though, also kind of forced your country's hand in terms of the magnitude of the response?
Certainly, that is a underlying requirement to respond to an assault on U.S. interests and U.S. soldiers in the area, and it did. What really triggered a far more harsh response was interfering with sea lines and bringing other countries involved.
So far, no strikes have hit inside Iran. Why do you think that is important here in terms of escalation?
So ultimately, that's a possibility. I'm sure that we're working target sets for Iran. What we try to do is bring all elements of national power, the diplomatic, economic, and military. And that would be, if not a last resort, certainly a resort of several levels beyond what we're trying to do right now. We have a lot of options between what's happening today and a direct assault on Iranian terrain. Those include going after their navy. Any ship that is offshore right now, any sea assets, naval assets that are deployed are certainly fair game right now, and I would suspect that we're going to start seeing some action there.
Can you give people a sense of how much Iran actually controls Iran-backed militias like Houthis or others? I mean, obviously they provide weapons, they provide financial support, but if Iran says stop, is that what happens? How much control do they have over them?
Rosemary, I believe that typically you follow the money on these operations, and the control of supplies, control of reinforcing material to the Houthis, that's certainly within the purview of the Iranian regime to control action on the part of their subsidiaries, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis. So the control of resources is typically what Iran is going to do to leverage actions on the part of their subsidiaries.
Given that we're talking about dozens and dozens of strikes, do you think that this will work? Do you think it will deter Iran and its proxies?
Rosemary, it hasn't done it yet. And the Houthi language coming now that they're going to match escalation for escalation, that's troubling, and we are certainly, again, in the business of being able to escalate and to go after targets that might prove a little bit more meaningful to the Houthis.
The U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says this is just the beginning of a response by the American military. How concerned are you that this is now escalating into a broader regional war? Obviously, this all traces back to what happened on October 7th, but how concerned are you that it's getting bigger?
Well, you haven't seen a whole lot of offensive action from countries that are not particularly fond of Iran. And Saudi Arabia is a large and pretty well-armed country. And I would imagine that there's some discussions afoot and some back-channel traffic going to Iran that you're approaching a time where we will be very seriously interested in some calm in the region. And if we don't get it, then there are going to be there will be repercussions.
Of course, the Secretary Blinken is back in the region, I think as of today, to talk about all of these issues. And there are, again, reports and conversations about the possibility of an end to the war in Gaza, a hostage deal, an extended truce. How hopeful are you that that will happen, that the U.S. can actually broker this?
Well, I believe that the Biden administration is doing a pretty good job, again, orchestrating the elements of national power. And Secretary Blinken is particularly astute and understands the levers that are available to him. And with his demeanor, I believe that real progress can be made in that arena. And I believe that, again, the integration of the military aspect, the diplomatic aspect, the economic aspect will bring enough force to bear that we can help settle the situation here.
How important would the Arab nations be in trying to protect Gaza once this is over? Because obviously that's part of the conversation too, how they get Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and others to secure that territory after the conflict.
Rosemary, at the end of the day, that is the question.
Yeah.
And the Arab states have a vested interest. And this is something, again, that orchestrated with Western nations can be a great victory for Arab nations in the region and the Palestinians, all in an effort to coach Israel into the two-state solution that we desperately need.
Major General Paul Eaton, thank you for your expertise this morning. Appreciate it.
Rosemary, thank you very much.